Well, how can you call yourself a teacher unless you are a master of your trade, a master of what it is you do? You can't teach somebody to play golf from a textbook. Okay? So if you learn how to play golf, you go to a golf pro who knows how to play it, who's a master of playing golf, and they will teach you how to play golf. You're not going to learn it in a classroom from a book. And this is how we learn sport. You can't learn how to be a rugby player from sitting in a classroom and, throw a ball around. That's not going to happen. So let's apply that to all forms, all aspects of our lives. And in our education and the transfer of skills. So master teachers surely can only be appointed by the Council of Elders and by the community when they've been chosen to be a master of their skill or whatever it is they do. So you've got to be a master baker. You can't say, well, I'll teach you how to bake from a book. No, that's not going to work. So a master baker will be in charge of the bakery and transfer their skills. And then suddenly there'll be other children that come out of this, or other that suddenly come and they learn new things and they add this to it, and you keep getting better and better. The master engineer will be the engineer that teaches the other young minds who want to become engineers and learn those kind of skills. And then you'll get the master scientists who will be bringing in the new materials for the engineers, who are creating new materials in laboratory out of graphene, mixing graphene with silica, with crystalline substances, with hemp, that we create natural, biodegradable and reusable materials that are no longer toxic for our environment. And these scientists and chemists will be providing the engineers with new materials. So they'll be the masters of their skills. You can't let a teacher in a classroom in a textbook teach you how to create new materials. So this is how you see how quickly our children will learn unimaginable things that we can't imagine now. Today, graphene is one of the most exciting discoveries in science and materials. The guy won a Nobel Prize for it, for God's sake. How many people in the world have got access to graphene? Very, very few. It's in laboratories where they're doing studies with it, and in probably some companies that are already global controllers of certain aspects of our society that are now already using that exclusively for the benefit of their corporation so they can sell it to us and benefit themselves. This will reverse that process. It'll make graphene available to all of our laboratories, all of our communities, and the various mixtures of materials that you bring forth out of resonance, that you actually can't even manufacture in a smelting plant, or anyway, that you can't burn with flames that are 10,000 times stronger than steel and 20 times lighter. So these are all things that we know we can do, our scientists can do them, and this is the transfer of skills that will happen. Our master teachers will be masters of their own field, and that's how we transfer our skills. So obviously we're going to have all these exciting parts and areas of our towns and villages and communities with these research laboratories and hospitals curing all disease with vibrational technology and sound that we know can be done. It's been happening for hundreds and thousands of years already. So all these amazing activities with master teachers, and we move between those community projects, learning those skills. Each community project has got a group of people working there permanently because that's their special passion already. And this is where our children start to integrate with these different community projects, and maybe have another sub-master teacher that then brings those children in, and they perform a function in the science laboratory, making new materials and tapping into the young mind, saying, well, how do you think we can make this better? And really getting them engaged and involved in this process, going from these minor little, what do you call them, internships, going through, in the beginning, going through short little internships, like a one-day internship, then it becomes a 3-day internship, and then a week internship, and then they move to the next place. And this is part of the education system that we create for our children. And then if you can't take the children to a place, then the master craftsman comes to the children, and he meets them in the open field and talks to them there and shares information with them there, and then takes them to the environment where these things happen. So this thing is so open. You were talking about the ratio of teacher and master teacher to the pupils, and it's that ratio is determined by the community. We don't have to have one teacher teaching 100 children in a classroom and then and they rush off from when the bell rings to learn something else. No wonder we're psychotic, you know. It's crazy. You know, we've got to focus on one thing for long enough for it to sink in, and not be turned into little machines. And again, it's that compartmentalization of knowledge and information. You fill their heads with all this stuff that they don't have to regurgitate, that's got absolutely no use or value to them in their lives. This is a complete different and a new holistic approach. And as you mentioned earlier, we are starting to mimic nature, starting to behave like the natural flow of energy around us, and that is critical. As long as we do this, our communities will grow, they'll expand in unlimited consciousness and provide the breeding ground for absolute abundance in future. Well, the role models are critical here, as whoever the teacher is, the master teacher, becomes the role model for the young minds and even the adults in that instance, because most of us are actually children trapped in adult bodies, you know, and we're still looking for our passions, trying to find our passion, and most of us don't even find it by the time we die. So it just really brings us back to our childhood dreams, even as adults going into this new process and reawakening some of our childhood dreams, that you suddenly rediscover, oh my goodness, I forgot that I was crazy about chemistry and now I can do it. You mean I can actually do the chemistry and make this part of my community project and my contribution? Wow, this is insane. We can't think like that today because we are so poisoned by our jobs and our careers and a short-term, medium and long-term plan. And if we don't stick to the plan, oh my God, all hell is going to break loose, right? So everything changes in this new society, and the master teachers, that you might not just have one master teacher, you might have a master teacher in this form of yoga and another master teacher in another form of baking bread or whatever, you know. So the relationships are critical because they're going to help formulate the minds of not only the youth and the young children, but also the adults as we find our way into this new way of existing. So that's the big thing now, you know, in today's society. Parents are worried about their children. Oh, I've got to get the best education for my child. And they don't know what the best education is. They think that by sending them to the most expensive schools, they're getting the best education. It's just a higher form of indoctrination. And so here, you don't have to worry about the best education. You are getting the best education that in today's society, money could not buy. There is no amount of money that could buy the kind of education that your children will get in a contributionism society with this kind of education. Not enough money in the world.